I don't know.
But let me interrupt you. I'm just asking you if you recall when you shared those phone numbers. What is the date? Do you know?
I can't remember. It was probably the day of or the day after I received the information from Mayor Tory.
And how many days was that before the invocation of the Emergency Act?
Well, as I said, I don't recall the actual date I met with or I received from Mr. Tory. So if you give me that date, then I can work my way back.
Okay, so you didn't follow up, and you don't know how many days passed between those messages being passed on and the invocation of the Emergency Act. Thank you.
Well, no, you asked me a question, I'm going to answer it. If I had the date, which I have back in my office, I can tell you the date that John Tory sent me the text with the names and numbers of the towing companies, and then I would have referred those either that day or the next day to Mr. Kanalakis.
But you don't have the dates.
Well, I have them back at my office. I was told I couldn't bring anything other than the chronology.
You can't tell us now. Mayor.
Well, if I can, I don't think I'm going to be allowed to leave and go and get my document at my office, but I can certainly email it to you if you'd like to know. But
that's fine. I'll move on, Mayor.
Okay.
Mayor, you did not speak to Premier Ford or to Sylvia Jones about the tow trucks.
I'm sorry?
You never spoke to Premier Ford or Sylvia Jones about tow trucks, is that right?
No, I would have had, in my first call with Premier Ford, I indicated to him that we were at a disadvantage because we just didn't have, we had two OC Transpo tow trucks and we couldn't even guarantee that they would cooperate. So that was a problem we had. And I can't recall if I told him I was contacting John Tory, but certainly the reason I contacted John Tory was because I saw the number of tow trucks that he was able to mobilize in Toronto after learning from our example a week or so after. And I wanted to know if he had any TTC or City of Toronto. And he said they had these private companies that came out and they were the ones whose numbers he gave me via text message.
You had 2 telephone calls with Premier Ford?
2 or 3.
Mayor Watson, do you know, you would agree with me that one of the biggest issues for the city was the lack of ability to move trucks?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
One of the biggest issues for the city was the lack of the ability to move these trucks.
That's correct.
The trucks, either they had to be towed or they had to be moved by somebody with keys, is that right?
Well, someone would have to drive them out, or they would have to be hooked up to a tow truck and lifted out, and that's what happened with those that refused to leave, and they were brought to a compound. Similar
and
to
what? And do you know if...
Sorry.
That's fine, thank you.
Similar to...
Go ahead.
Similar to, if someone is parking in a no stopping zone, we have the ability with city tow trucks to tow them, but those are for cars, not 18-wheelers.
Do you know if financial incentives were offered to reluctant tow truck drivers?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
If those incentives were to be made, who would make them? The city or the police?
Good question. I don't know legally or logistically who would make it, but the pot of money comes from the same. It's the taxpayers. So whether it's the city budget or the police budget, it's one and the same. I was asked the question with respect to the procurement. I don't know whether it was the police, OPS, or City of Ottawa that procured it. Mr. Kanalakis could certainly clarify that.
I'm going to just switch topics, Mayor. I understand that someone made a death threat against you, and I'm sorry to hear that.
If I can interrupt, can I just interrupt briefly? You're going to have to wrap up quickly.
That is fine. Thank you, Commissioner. In that case, Mayor Watson, let me just ask you. You told us earlier today, where evidence came out that these protesters, they were nasty, they were hateful, and they were vulgar. Is that right?
Yes.
And you said that you saw, or you said that they had ripped masks off of people.
Yes.
Did you actually see that?
No, I saw it reported in the media.
Okay. And I think you also said that certain people were attacked. Is that right?
I didn't say that, no. I said that I had death threats, but I wasn't physically attacked.
No, I didn't say that you were attacked, but you said that these protesters were attacking people. Did you not say that?
No. They were disrupting people's lives, that's for sure, and they refused on at least 3 occasions that I'm aware of that they refused to adhere to the provincial mandate of wearing a mask when going into a shop or a restaurant.
So you're not aware of any incidents of physical violence from the protesters?
Well, you'd have to ask the police. I know they arrested a couple hundred people and charged a couple hundred people. I don't know what the charges were, so I'm not privy to that information.
According to your knowledge? You don't know of any?
So I don't know any...
Of any physical attacks?
Not to my own personal knowledge, no.
All right, thank you. Those are my questions.